Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and this is the continuation of my 2022 end of the year build vlog. And today I'm going to be making a minor addition to my Proton pack. This is to activate a latent feature that is inherent to the Proton pack, but isn't necessary and may not ever be used if you don't use certain kinds of blasters. What I'm going to be adding is a manual activation option. So normally the way an Out of Darts Proton pack works is you plug a battery into the backpack, and then you plug this cable coming out of the backpack into your blaster where you would normally plug its battery in. Then when you rev the blaster, there is a current sensor on the board that detects that current is traveling through this wire, and it knows that your blaster is revving and therefore knows to turn on the backpack, and it automatically starts feeding. It's an absolutely ingenious system, and I love it so very, very much. However, there are a couple of blasters that you might want to use with a Proton pack where that is not how you want it to work. You want to be able to manually turn on the blaster. This is true for either hopper blasters, like the Nemesis or the Prometheus, where you don't want to overfill the tank because the Proton pack can feed rounds faster than those blasters can fire, and therefore you may end up overfilling the tank and it can lead to jams, as we saw with my Nemesis, or at least that's one theory of what was wrong with my Nemesis. We will be testing that. The other option is springers. If you wanted to have a Proton pack fed springer, you would need a way to activate the backpack, because the springer obviously doesn't have flywheels. And so that is what this feature can do. And as I said, it's already an inherent thing. You just have to connect a wire up to it, which we have here because I've already done this. This is all being filmed out of order. You don't know. Editing is magic. Anyway, and then you simply have to complete the circuit. You can just have a button, or you can have a switch or something. There's various ways that you can complete this circuit to turn on your backpack. And then there's a number of applications for what you would use that for. And that's what the next couple of videos will be about. Today, we're just going to add that wire. It'll be super simple. It really is just solder up both ends, plug it in, and then feed it. That's all there is to it. And then I'm going to build something silly to use with this. And that'll be today's video. Next couple of videos will be various blasters that will utilize this system. And those blasters will need some modifications that I wouldn't have otherwise made to them. So stay tuned for that. Yes, there will be springers, and it should be fun. But now, let's be silly. So I'm going to pop this thing open and show you how to make the adjustment, and then we're going to build something silly. Here we go. So on the board, on our Proton pack, there is a jack right here. And that is what we are going to be utilizing. Now, do I have the right jack to plug into that? Okay. So, luckily I have a second Proton pack kit that I haven't built yet, but it had what I was looking for, which is this jack, which jacks in right here on the board. Just plugs in. Right, the upgrades to the tank are complete. There is now a second set of wires coming out and going along the hose. I'm going to really quickly just wire up a switch onto it and tinker with that real quick, and I'll show you the sort of applications that I can use this for. So give me a moment to hunt down a switch. So I have my gizmo. This is the button. I push this button while it's plugged in, and the backpack will feed. It'll activate and feed rounds out of this hose at a prodigious rate. And, well, what if we didn't hook it up to a blaster at all? Found the perfect gizmo. And there it is. Simple as you like. I did end up going with a socket. So, the hose sockets in right here. There's then a little bit of Velcro that goes here to keep the hose in place. And now I have, oh, and then of course the button plugs in right here. And now we have the ability to simply fire rounds out of the hose. Let's go to the range and test it. I'm actually excited to see how well this works. It should be abysmal. Right, I'm here on the range. It's cold and damp, and I'm rapidly losing daylight, but I've got a bunch of stuff to film, so let's get to it. Starting with this absurdity, my arm-mounted Proton Pack hose. Many people who have seen a Proton Pack in action have described it as a hose. Well, now it is quite literally simply a hose. Let's see what kind of range we get if we just push the button. About 15 feet. That's actually really impressive and hilarious. That's fun. Right. That's it. That's all there is. We could probably go talk about it some more and then film more stuff. A perhaps more practical use, I have a couple of blasters here that I'm going to be filming, and I need to put some rounds in their hoppers. Oh no. I've run out of ammo. They try again. Should be enough for now. That'll do. On to the next video. Right, well, that was ridiculous and fantastic, and actually performed far better than I was expecting. But what are the potential practical applications of being able to manually activate the backpack? Well, the first, as I demonstrated, is you could in fact use it to reload other people's hoppers. So if you had a ridiculously large tank, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 rounds in a tank, you could then be the ultimate rival ammo mule and just go around refilling other people's hoppers or even other people's proton packs at that point, which would be pretty cool. You could also actually use this to set up just a rival reload station that would basically look like a water cooler, but for rival, where you'd have an enormous tank full of rival and the proton pack, and then just a button, you push it, and it would dispense rival, like it would dispense water, and then people could refill their hoppers or their tanks or whatever, and that would be pretty nifty. I might have to look into something like that at some point. Not high on the list, but I do think it's a neat concept. And then obviously the other one is integrating it into blasters that have a hopper built into it. So like my Nemesis, where I wouldn't want it to be feeding from the backpack when the hopper was already full because it could overfill the tank and cause it to jam. And so you could, hook the hose up to there and then push the button to reload, or you could integrate a button into the blaster that this plugs into, and then you could reload whenever you wanted by pushing a button on the blaster, which is of course how I plan to do it. So that's what the next two videos will be. Blasters that are integrated, blasters with hoppers that are integrated to use this. And then we'll get into the third option, which is springers. Could you use this to feed a spring-powered blaster from the Proton Pack? And spoiler alert, yes you can, but you'll have to wait until after Christmas to see that one. So, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know other ideas, things you'd like to see, because again, I decided to do this because so many people gave suggestions in the comments, so give me comments, give me ideas, and thank you for watching. Oh look, there is a convenient place on the backpack for me to store the stuff. Ain't that nifty?